Welcome into another HawkZone.com video. This is Matt Galloway, the KU beat writer for HawkZone.com and the Capital Journal. I'm alongside Kevin Haskin, the columnist for CJ Online. Earl, the Jayhawks didn't look as impressive as they did their first two games yesterday against Maryland, but they were able to edge the Terrapins and Mark Turgeon for a victory. What were your impressions from that game?
They played well in the second half. The first half they stayed close and eventually took that halftime lead, which I thought was key for a half in which Maryland could have picked up a pretty big margin. And yet Kansas went in at halftime with a lead. I thought it was key, and then came out and made a lot of shots to begin the game or begin the second half and wound up pulling away.
Yeah, that KU defense really clamped down in the second half, and Landon Lucas was a big part of it. You're writing about the KU defense for tomorrow's edition of the Capital Journal. How big of an impact has the KU defense been on this run? I know the Terrapins were scoring a lot better before they played the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I think Bill Self put it really well yesterday in saying that if you're not clicking offensively, at least try and get things done to stay within an opponent, stay close, and that's what they did. And KU's defense has been solid ever since that game at Oklahoma State. I think that was a big turning point when they figured out, hey, we got to be better on this end of the floor after losing by 19 to a team that finished 9th in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm. And just an interesting nugget from today, Devontae Graham said that they've been meeting in Wayne Selden's apartment before games and having what he calls guard talk, where they go over scouting reports and they take quizzes on the tendencies of other players. So I thought that was an interesting nugget.
Yeah, Frank Mason kind of said the same thing about meeting in his room while they're here at the hotel and meeting individually. So and doing different things in terms of trying to figure out what it is, where they need to be on the floor, and what kind of help they need to offer each other.
Now the Jayhawks had a bit of an attitude after yesterday's game against Maryland. They said in the post-game locker room that they had a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Some national folks, Doug Gottlieb comes to mind, the pros versus Joes comment. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was any? I know the Jayhawks came out a little sluggish in the first half. Do you think that really played any kind of a role in motivating them, that Maryland had the NBA ready talent for projected first round picks, but for projected NBA draft picks according to Draft Express?
Well, in this it's whatever you can use, and Kansas is the top overall seed, so obviously Kansas is loaded with talent. But Bill Self's made a point to mention too that he thinks some of these guys aren't getting the kind of NBA reputation that they should be getting. And so it's whatever you can use to summon enough energy. But I think this team plays pretty well too when they don't have that kind of chip, or at least they don't say they do.
Now this might give them another chip, but they're riding a 17-game winning streak into tomorrow's game, but arguably they're not as hot as Villanova is. Villanova, the number 2 team, the number 2 seed in the South region, and I believe the last team to be ranked number 1 before KU in the Associated Press
Bowl.
Held
it for 3 weeks.
Right. This is going to be a huge matchup.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
I mean, you got to cool them off somehow, and the only way to do that is with defense, because the way they're shooting, they're not going to miss open shots right now. They're riding a big wave of confidence to win games by 19, 30, and 23 points in the tournament through 3 rounds. That's awfully tough, and you're going to see 2 extremely confident teams out here. So it's going to rely on who can come up with defensive stops and do so over an extended stretch of time.
Yeah, KU's got to get better guard play. I know Devontae Graham dealt with some fatigue yesterday. I had some cramps, didn't eat anything all day. Frank Mason's been banged up, as you wrote about yesterday. I think guard play will be key in this game, and I do expect the Jayhawks to edge Villanova. I'm going to go ahead and say 82-80. I think the Jayhawks will be able to escape, and that's going to be a nightmare for anybody on the deadline, but nobody watching at home cares about that. So what do you think?
I can go a little bit lower scoring. I'm going to say 77-70 in favor of KU in this game. I think they get it done, and one way you get it done as guards, as any player, if you're not going well offensively, is to still keep the emotion, keep it up defensively. And I think this team has done that for the most part, and particularly the 2 small guards whom Mark Turgeon gave credit to for stopping Maryland yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if the Jayhawks win. They'll earn a bid in the Final Four, and visit HawkZone.com tomorrow and the day after for full coverage of the event, and if they do make the Final Four, full coverage from Houston. So for Kevin Haskin, this is Matt Galloway saying thank you for watching this video, and we will talk to you later.